Hey paper crafters, thank you so much for joining me today. I love that you took the time to pop by my channel, check out the video that I've got going, and hopefully stay and poke around a little bit. I'm really excited to be able to offer some videos now and then and share my love of paper crafting. So I hope you find something that you enjoy and come back to see me another time. Bye-bye. Hey paper crafting friends, thanks for joining me today. If you watched my last video, I dug into one of the paper collections that I had pulled from the Bloom to Fleur stack, and I created a 2-page layout. After finishing that up, I wanted to go through and I separated out all of the sentiment cards from that stack into the little sections of them that I thought I would use with the different sets of paper I had put together. So with this particular set, I pulled this one. Okay, that matches. There's some cute little kind of tags there, and then this. So then I looked at what I had left from that layout. Got a little bit of this pink solid. I had a couple pieces of this big floral left. Okay. This is that small floral print, and it's kind of the burgundy on the reverse. And then this floral, that's the real deep green on the reverse. So I decided I needed to go ahead and create at least another 2-page layout because there's so many big pieces of this. Okay, so I'm going to work on a 2-page layout spread using these scraps, and then maybe a card or two. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Right now I'm looking at something like this green. I don't know if this is exactly what I'm going to use, but I think that something like this might be a nice background with all of these pretty florals. I don't know about that deep green, but this color, I don't know. I'm going to play with that a little bit. I'm going to lay out a design for us and we'll see how it all comes together. I'm going to see if I can help you use up what you have left of this particular set. All right, so I ended up going a shade darker on that green. I ended up picking New England Ivy, which is a close to my heart solid. I think that's going to work. And here's what I came up with for a layout. I definitely wanted to pull in some of these cute little florals here. I don't know that I'll use this other piece of this, but these cute little pieces that jut out of that tag I thought would be really sweet, just coming out the side of a couple of the photos. Okay, I pulled in the vintage a la carte, and I just love to use this to anchor a couple of photos. Up here at the top, I used scallops 1A and 1B, and I'm going to also use just a 1-inch strip of a coordinating paper. I love the scallop, I just don't like to have a ton of it. I pulled in just a 1/2-inch strip down here at the bottom to kind of frame everything in a little bit. And then I pulled in a couple of templates from some previous Kiwi clubs. So this is a set that was called Bouquet. So this is Bouquet 2, and then this is Bouquet 1. So it'll be kind of nice if I can do these out of the same paper. You can see this piece actually can be cut right out of here. Okay, so I'm going to work on that. This one is Hello To. This one is Bonnie. So definitely templates from a few different places this time. So this one was from a snap frame kit, and then Bonnie was a club kit. And then this a la carte fern. So I take back what I said in my last video about trying to feature one set. That did not happen this time. I apologize for that. But you could definitely sub in some different flowers if you don't have these templates. Even some silk flowers from your collection would work really well. I'm just doing the one cluster, I think. So I know that these are going to be here. Okay. I know that I want to bring in this fun little card into this layout. So it will go in place of one of these 4x6s. It may just go here. That's kind of what I'm thinking, that I would just layer that in the corner. That could either be a photo mat, which is the fun little floral popping out, or this would be a great place to journal and kind of tell the story of what I end up putting on this page. So I'm going to start making some paper choices, getting some pieces cut. I will pop on and show you some tips about templates like this. But otherwise, I'm going to just get busy and then I'll come back and start showing you how it layers together. For this bouquet 2-piece, I've decided that I want to go with this small floral print that's on the reverse of this burgundy sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it out of this section where there's already kind of some odd shapes going on. And remember, I'm going to use the middle for the flower cluster that's going to be over on the left-hand side of the page. So the nice thing about this paper is, even though this print is really busy, the reverse side of it really is not. So by cutting both of the pieces here, I may decide that I want the burgundy side for that flower cluster, and that's absolutely fine. I can just flip over this middle piece. Okay, so I know this is a little bit tough to see, but I want to just do a rough cut around here real quick, okay, just to get this piece out of here, because I want to make sure that when you go to use something like this, and it could be lacy trims, it could be one of the rings, anything that has a center like this, you want to make sure that you are obviously cutting around the outside edge first. But when you go to get that middle section, please do not get out a craft knife and a cutting mat and take all that time to try to cut something out of the center of another piece. That takes forever. You know, it's kind of tough actually when you're trying to cut on a mat like that. So get your outer cut done. And if you're watching, I am really cutting as far back on my scissors as I can. And I am manipulating the direction of the paper with my non-cutting hand, right? So this hand is grasping the paper and really helping rotate it so that I can cut quickly and accurately. But now I want to get to the middle here, and it is absolutely fine that I am going to slice through one part of this piece. Think about how I was using it. It's tucked behind some photos. This particular one is actually even cutting across the midline of 2 pages. So no matter what, there are pieces that end up tucked, like behind a photo mat, behind an embellishment, whatever. You definitely don't have to go through all of that work with a craft knife to get the center out of here. Don't be afraid to cut across your piece and do it. So I just wanted to make sure that you're thinking about that when you go to use something like this. Make it as easy on yourself as you can. Scrapbooking's hard, so don't make it harder, okay? So I've got that cut there. That is not gonna work. Well, I don't know, we'll have to see. It would have to be a straight cut here to go on the 2 pages. I'll figure out exactly how that's gonna go. If that's not gonna work, this can always tuck under a photo and I can do my cut somewhere else. But I also have the option of this or this for that flower cluster. So just wanted to give you that quick tip. I'm going to continue to make some paper choices and I'll be back with those in a minute. Well, I got busy and I made some paper choices. So let me show you how this is coming together. So I used this kind of burgundy color for the scallop. So I've got those pieces there. And then instead of a full 1-inch strip, I went ahead and went with a 3/4, and it's this larger floral print. And I just love that paper, so I wanted to get at least a little bit of it on here. I just think it's gorgeous, and it really gives a hint of all of the other colors that are going to pop up in this layout. So something like that. And then I went ahead and cut a 1/2-inch strip of the burgundy to frame out this page. And I don't want it all the way at the bottom. I'm going to kick it up about 1/4 of an inch so that the green also shows from that background paper. Okay. Here's the Bouquet 2 piece that I cut. And I think that that cut that I did, that I was talking about hiding, I actually think it's going to be perfect. I'm going to go ahead and leave that cut right there. That's going to be on the seam between of the 12 by 12 pages. And I'll just cut another piece here, but I'm going to wait until I adhere that to the page so I make sure that I get it just right. For the vintage a la carte piece, I used this kind of cream colored background with the subtle floral print on it. And I want to make sure that I carry this light feeling all the way across, and that's going to work out perfectly because I also wanted to bring this in over here. So I've definitely got those touches of light scattered throughout. Let's take a look at the rest of the photo mats. This was a color that I needed to pull from my stash. I did need some big enough pieces to be able to cut the photo mats, so I just pulled, it's a light pink. This is a close to my heart color. I can try to see which one that is, but just pulled that one out. And then this was a leftover chunk from that original layout. So this came out of the Bloom de Fleur stack. Okay. And I thought I would go ahead and use this darker tone for these 2 photo mats. And I've really been debating on if I wanted to make these photo mats a little bit smaller or if I wanted to go ahead and leave them this size and just butt them all the way up against the edge. So for now, I'm going with that. So the last thing that I've got is the flower cluster and these couple of pieces that I cut off of that embellishment tag. So that really brings that burgundy and floral feel in. I had designed this with one of the pictures kicked off this way and the other one kicked off this way. I ended up deciding that I wanted them lined up, at least at this point. You never know, it's not taped down yet, so could change. And then for this flower cluster, I really struggled with what I wanted to use for those pieces. So I ended up pulling in this fern piece here, and I feel like the dark green is really just maybe too dark. So I went ahead and inked the other side, and it's just that lighter leafy print. Now I could go really either way on that, and I may ink the dark side and check that out before I stick it down just to see. And then I decided I wanted the darker color of this on the bottom. Okay, and again, this is one of those pieces that I played with a lot because this piece and this piece are the same, and I was like, kind of trying to make a decision on how I felt about that. But let me show you the difference. If I do the lighter on the bottom, especially with this, I wasn't really a fan. So darker on the bottom is what I decided. Then the lighter. And then I wanted to pull this pink across, and I had just a little bit left, so I had enough to go ahead and make a center. So I think that that ends up being okay. Again, could decide to go that route with that leaf. I just feel like it really gets lost in that green. Okay. So the last thing that I've got to think about on this layout is some embellishments. And you might think I'm crazy, but a friend just recently gave me this roll of adhesive jewels. You see these? They're green, really similar to the green in this background. And I was thinking about cutting a 12-inch strip of these, and I don't want to use both pieces. I think that's too much, but I might cut a 12-inch strip and then cut it right down the middle so it's just a single row, and do it right here across this spot and this spot. So I'm thinking about that. So you're going to have to look at the pictures at the end to see what I decided. If I go that route, I do have some jewel embellishments that are really similar in color that I could maybe add just some little accents, maybe on the points here and here. Maybe add something over to the flower, so to kind of carry that feeling across. So I'm still debating about that. Like I said, check at the end. And then I've got a couple of cards that I'm going to throw together, and I will show those at the end as well, just using the pieces that I have left over. So I am committed to using every bit of this. So hopefully you got some ideas from seeing how this came together, and you too can pull out your scraps and go for it. So thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to check those pics at the end, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.